Good night, Marcia. Good night, everyone is listening and watching.
Good night, Ezekiel.
I, you know, I listen to you, and you're right. I remember when Barbadians were not this passive, and that was not too long ago. When I first joined the trade union movement, I joined the trade union movement when I was an immigration officer at the airport. 2 weeks after I became an immigration officer, an old guy came up to the airport. He signed me up in the union and the credit union. I didn't know anybody, but it was convincing. I got played city. I joined, and that is where my journey started. I started to go to meetings, and I participated in those meetings. And I remember when there was a problem, the workers realized that you were your brother's keeper, and they rallied behind you. I remember in 1982, it was 82, the nurses were on strike, and we marched past. Mind you, I was not a nurse. I remember when I was on TV, I was up front. I don't like standing in the back. And my mother saw me on TV. She said, Caswell, but you're a nurse? I would never forget that. She said, because I had to give them my support. And that's what used to happen. You came out and you support each other. But then we had independent union leaders, even though some of them had political leanings. And I'm talking about people like Frank Walker. I'm not going to go past Frank Walker because everything changed after he passed. Frank Walker was a member of the Democratic Labour Party, but he was a trade unionist first. And he called out the troops against his own leader. I remember when I was a little boy, my little understanding then, I come to understand what was going on better as I grew up. We were having these Black Power demonstrations in the Caribbean, started in Trinidad, and the governments were afraid. And almost every country
What
in the
year?
Caribbean,
What year was that? What year was
1970,
that?
1970,
Mm.
and they started passing these public order acts.
Mm-hmm.
And the act in Barbados restricted the unions. Frank Walker would have none of it.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, he fought Barra until Barra put exemptions for unions. Like, for instance, if you want to have a public meeting, you got to get permission from the police. Not so if you're a trade union. If you are
Mm-hmm.
doing it for the furtherance of the objects of the union, you don't get police permission. Mind you, I would not have a public meeting. I don't go to the police and say, well, we're having a meeting, so we need you there because you'll be a fool because some fool will come and do nonsense and then all hell will break loose. But you don't go on your hands and knees. Frank Walker fought Barra whenever he thought it was in the best interest of the workers. No, we are not having any such thing. We haven't trade union leaders that have sold out. They sold out for Mercedes Benz. They sold out for BMWs. They sold out for a seat in Parliament. And I keep saying, I'm quoting her. Old journalist said, I am not saying that a man can't wear two hats, but when you wear them together, you look foolish. And we are having trade union leaders that are wearing both hats at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
They do not know when they're serving they don't ever serve the workers now. And that is not um, the only reason, but it's the main reason why the trade unionists, the workers feel disillusioned and let down. So it might not be apathy or people who are docile. It might not even be that at all. It might be fool me once, shame on me. Fool me once, shame on you. Show fool me twice, shame on me. So the people say these trade union leaders are fooling them too often, and they are tired. They're not represented properly. And you cannot expect people who have been deceived and deceived by people that you pay to just rally behind them. And that is why the unions have failed. I remember in 1984 when I went to the George Minnie Center for Labor Studies, I had to do a presentation on Barbados. I had to do a little bit of research. In those days, the Barbados Workers Union had 25,000 members. 1984. They don't have 6,000 now. Why?
Mm.
People are seeing what the unions have done to them, and they're not speaking out. They're not saying anything. They're just opting out. I can't blame them. I honestly cannot blame them. I get angry because they lump unions in one group and say, "Oh, unions." I will never be like them. But unfortunately, that is the burden that I have to carry because I am a trade unionist, and trade unionists have deceived the workers of this country for too long.
Yes.
And often they would make a little saber rattling to get many people that are still here. But they quickly settle down and the workers are no better off. And so when people say, "Oh, I ain't getting involved because of this, because of that," no. This time around, you got to get involved because you have to do it for you. This will impact your future. This will impact your old age. A lot of people are 20, 25, 30. They're not thinking about old age. But just the other day was 25, 30, kind of years too, Now I'm 64. And I don't know how quickly they pass, right? The first day a little fella saw me and, and referred to me as that gentleman. And I look up because I thought I was still a young boy. I was speaking to a group of them
Yeah.
was misbehaving. So and one fella he continued, and the fella said, "You hear what that gentleman said?" And I said, "Yeah, old gentleman, because those little fellas most were 10, So, and that was the other day. So you'll be surprised how quickly you will reach the age where you will need assistance. And sometimes you don't have to reach that age because sometimes illness and infirmity might cause you to go to the fund early for your pension. But the government is now discouraging you from going early if you reach a situation where you have no choice.
Yes.
Because let me tell you something. You might be up and running, and then you're working for a company, and the company is saying, "No, something we can let go of these people," and they let go of the older folks, fellas in the late 50s, just approaching 60. Unless you are highly skilled and in demand, you're going to find it hard to find another job. And if you decide now that you are going to apply for your pension early, the government said, "Well, you're going to lose 0.75% for each year you apply early." It used to be half of 1%, and that was burdensome. But they're going to make sure now that you spend that on another quarter on that. You're going to want to claim early because you're going to lose too much pension. When you lose that amount of pension, they don't say, "Well, when you reach 68 or whatever, it will go up." No, it stays there. So you will always get a reduced pension until the day you die. So without saying it, government is trying to discourage you. And they're putting people at risk because if you cannot, and I'm seeing it a lot, where older folks are being sent home. Older folks are being displaced. And sometimes it is from companies who come from overseas and buy a Barbadian company. And they say,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
oh, you are remaining in the job. We are not going to change your conditions of service. So there's no need, no legal need or to pay you your severance pay. And then quickly thereafter, when you sign on the dotted line and move over, then they start making life difficult for you.
Yes.
Right now, I have represented several people in that position. And the government has to be aware of this. This is not a secret. Because if it's a secret, that means the chief labor officer is not doing her job and reporting these things to the Minister of Labor, not reporting the trends in the market, not reporting what's going on. And they don't very much that is the case. It's just that these people figure, well, hell, I don't care. They don't give a, you know, and they're showing it. We need to stand up to this government and say, you have done a lot of things that cause us distress and that was harmful. And we took it. But we can't take this one. This one is too fundamental. Every day, when you turn on the radio, you hear the national insurance jingle, this is your lifeline. They want to cut the line. So when you're trying to hold on to that lifeline, they ain't cut. So you go on. Right now they're proposing to lower the amount of money you will get, make you take longer to qualify. Yeah. And eventually, I can tell you, you're going to end up paying more contributions because that is what the actuary said in his report after they took the $1.3 billion of the National Insurance Fund and didn't pay it back. They said they gave the National Insurance a haircut, but they went right
Mm-hmm.
down to the bone. They wasn't here, they stuck off scalp too. They went right down to the bone. National Insurance is reeling from that massive misappropriation of their funds. And they are asking us now to repair that over a period of time and to reduce your benefits in order to recapitalize the fund. No, you took the money out, put it back. You build buildings with national insurance money and say that the government will pay rent, pay the rent. Government, we said about, government don't pay bills too on time or often. And
Right.
then especially when you're in government now and you are renting from a government entity or an entity that the government controls, it's not necessarily a government entity because national insurance money is not the government money. Government don't put any money in the national insurance fund unless they are like any other employer and they put their matching piece inside there. That's how it works. The employers put their money and the worker put their money. It goes to the worker's account. It is for the worker. It is not for the government to abuse, to balance their budget, to do capital works. And then when you need it, and some of you will need it sooner than most, because God knows you could go down the road to there and fall in a pothole and can't work. You're going to rely on
Mm-hmm.
national insurance. Get sick from that vaccine, you're going to rely on national insurance. National insurance is really a lifeline, and you cannot allow the government to continue to take money of the national insurance fund to its detriment. National insurance has been the government slash fund for too long. And like I said today at the press conference, you're not hearing the Democratic Labour Party speaking out about this. And the reason why I am not surprised is that they too put their hands in the National Insurance Fund. No, admit you were wrong and move on. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not going to say, well, look, we do it too, so we can't say nothing. No, I said, look, we were wrong then, and you're wrong now too.
Mm-hmm.
And say, well, we ain't going to do it again. But they're not going to say that because it is easy to take from the poor. And that's what National Insurance Fund is all about, National insurance mainly, it insures everybody. but it ensures the people at the lower level 100%, as opposed to people who are the high flyers who are making $15,000 and $20,000 a month. National insurance insures from $91 a month to $5,120 a month. If your salary is over that, they don't insure the portion above. You go have to go and find insurance elsewhere to cover you, because you get $2,400 maximum for national insurance pension as it is now. And if you're earning $10,000, $12,000 a month, and you will only get 2,400, 2,600, whatever the case may be, you will see that that big gap, your lifestyle would be drastically altered. So those people are supposed to take some of that 5, 10, 12, 13, 14, $15,000 and buy insurance to help cover the excess. But you have people at the bottom, people who work in gas stations, who work in supermarkets, who work as low-level public officers, who don't have enough disposable income that they can afford. So they will only rely on national insurance. And then you are going to take money from them. This government is in a habit of doing that. You remember they lower the taxes on companies
Yes.
to a maximum of 5%. But and then in order to recoup that, the tax water. And people who are paying a $32 bill for water when the month comes, that's the lowest bill that you can pay. The water authority don't charge less than $32. They put a $45 tax on a $32 bill, and they just sit down and they took it. But they can't take this one now, because this hitting at the heart of everything else. The government has a way of, and I call it reverse Robin Hood, robbing the poor to give to the rich. And sometimes they got some poor friends that make them rich, but they're their friends.
Correct.
We have to speak up. We have to tell the government we ain't taking this. I am getting, when I walk the streets, people stopping me and telling me they support me, and even people in the police force. I still call it police force because that's what it is. High-fiving me when they see me and telling me keep up the good work, because you know they can't come out. I wouldn't expect them to, but they're very much behind us, because they too are going to be impacted. Because let me tell you something, they are poorly paid too, and when you're poorly paid and you get a pension from that poorly paid money, you're in trouble too. In the end. But you think that they are jumping their first opportunity to get their living in the public service because they are poorly paid? And you bring people from overseas that don't know what to do and give them fantastic salaries, like the guy who just jumped, but they had to get rid of because he never knew what he was doing, but he was somebody's friend. They're from BTMI, and
Correct.
we are taking our money and giving it to our friends, even international friends. And then Bajans are suffering. Bajans, is up to you. I will be there, God willing, to march with you. I'll tell you though that at my age, the changes will not impact on me, right? But I'm going to be out there fighting for you. I am not doing this for me. I'm not doing this for Caswell, frankly, because I'm not going to get another cent more or cent less in pension when I reach pensionable age because of my age. But if you're younger than me, it will impact on you. So you have to fight. I'm ready to fight with you and for you. But we need your support to make sure that the government listens. This sleeping giant that Marcia is talking about, it is time we get up and show the government that we mean business, that they work for us and not the other way around.
You
What
know,
am
you
I?
know, Mr. Franklin, I just wanna. There's something that I was just here researching as you were talking. It just came in my spirit to look at it. The NSRL, that tax, that has been repealed, right?
Yes,
That
that
has
was
been repealed, right? Go ahead.
that tax was the fairest tax of them all. But what it did, it made the merchants pay taxes. The
Yes.
people who bring in stuff into the island, and in order to get your goods out of the harbor, you had to pay that NSRL, that, that tax. The merchants didn't like it, and they lobbied the Barbados Labour Party to fight for them. And the Barbados Labour Party enlists the support of the unions when it didn't bother the unions one bit or the workers one bit. All it did was to bother the people who used to import the goods to sell to you. They then have to pay their fair share taxes because the Barbados experience is that when these people collect VAT to pay in, a lot of them steal it. But there was no stealing of the NSRL. You pay upfront. And they enlist the support of the Barbados Labour Party to fight against it. And the Barbados Labour Party campaign and make people believe that that tax was the worst tax in the world. Because you listen to the politicians and you believe them. They came in because they're fully expecting, telling you, but one day you take off the NSRL, the prices will come down. When the last time you see a price come down in Barbados, nothing came down. But these people put that NSRL, that money for paying NSRL into the banks though, and the government came in then and taxed poor people. The rich people got a tax break, the legislative tax break. The poorest of the poor were made to pay more taxes. This is what the Barbados Labour Party is all about. This is not the Barbados Labour Party of Grantley Adams and Tom Adams. This is a Barbados Labour Party of despots. Despots and the despots' minions, who, because most of them don't have a profession, they have to stick, even if they believe what they're doing is wrong, in order to stand there and make the side of the minister, they got to shut up. And they don't speak for their constituents. The first thing they must do is to speak on behalf of their constituents. Well, the last thing about speak for their constituents in this country, they don't. Because they're playing nicey, because they want to hold on to the ministerial position so they can get a big salary and then a big pension in the end. And I told you a lot of things about their pension. I only scratched the surface because I don't think it's numbers to take it. Let me get another little one. Public officers, a public officer who is acting. Your pension is based on, in the public service, the last 3 years' salary. So if you want to get the salary at the highest level, you have to be at that level for 3 years. The highest level for your post. You have to be there for 3 years. A politician only has to be there at that level. As long as he qualifies for the 8 years, he only has to be there for 3 months to get the salary highest level. So you can have a fella who is a backbencher, not a minister, is a backbencher, and he gets the backbencher's pay. But coming on late in his career, something happened and he gets a pick as a minister, 3 months. His salary is there, his pension is then computed at the minister's rate as opposed to the backbencher's rate. For public office, you're gonna be there for 3 years. They only gonna be there for 3 months. So when I hear people get up in the Senate, people tell me I don't listen to her. Get up in the Senate and try to justify it. There's no justification for this nastiness that they do against the people in this country, you know. They take the fatted calf and they don't even give you the cow tail. They keep all that, you know. So don't believe them for a minute. They were caught. We caught them. We caught them trying to deceive us. And so
Correct.
you know for a fact that they were not working in your best interest. You know for a fact that they are only feathering their own nest and telling you otherwise, giving you something and calling it cheese. It ain't no cheese. It's brown. And well, it might got brown cheese too, you know, but it ain't the cheese. You got to stop listening to them and listen to yourself. Think for yourselves. And say, they're going to get a second pension when they reach 68, you know. They're going to get one at 50 and then at 60 they can get another one.
Correct. So they're getting two pensions, right? Two pensions. That's the thing. And these are the people who came in and said that they care. And this is what I'm saying, Mr. Franklyn. I'm saying Barbados, we don't have an opposition. We don't have an opposition. We don't have unions. Apart from Mr. Franklyn's union, we don't have the larger unions are quiet on it. They're mum. They say nothing. The second large, the other party that is a large party, the Democratic Labour Party, they have not done an official statement. When it was about the ID, I would hear the president and he's talking about these IDs, and that was good because there were lots of Barbadians who had a lot of issues with those IDs. And him coming up and speaking up about it really, gave a lot of people strength. And I'm saying, you live in this country, you're part of the other major political party, and something like this that affects the poor of this country. And you're gonna come to us for votes, and oh no, I don't hear anything from you. You might plan to speak, but listen, you should be out there. And Bajans, as I'm saying, you listen, wake up, wake up and tell these jokers when they come knocking and looking for vote. You in Jamaica we say we dash dirty water on them. On both of these, all of these parties, do not get up and vote for people anymore that do nothing for you. Talking about, oh, my grandfather was a BLP and my grandfather was a DLP and whatever, and they do nothing. I am waiting on to hear what the DLP is coming to say about this. Pensioners are calling. People are concerned. People are worried. Once you hear that people are, listen, you're coming in to represent people, And this movement here is not a political movement. Because I tell you, Caswell, any one of them, doing nonsense to the people of Barbados, any one of them doing nonsense to the people of Barbados, I'm going to speak out against it. This is too serious. So I had to jump in to say that. Correct.
Yeah. Marcia,
someone
sent me a notice, and they're so pathetic. I almost feel for them. The National Union of Public Workers today organized a meeting to get a presentation from the National Insurance Office on the proposed National Insurance Reform. They waited after the things passed and then inviting their members to a meeting to explain it to them. They could only be working for the government because what they should have done up front is to say, look, these are the proposals. Let us discuss them and let me see if you have any objection to them and let me put up objections to the government. No, they want everything done. They feel that they believe that everything done. They don't want to fix nothing. They don't want to pacify you. They want to take away your militancy. They want you to say, man, it's done, so it ain't done yet. Remember, the children in France and the people who are still on the streets all like, no. Because they are not giving up to the children back. What if Frenchmen better than we? Or they got more sense than we? No. You must stand up to these people. Let them know that you're not fools. and stand up to these other unions who have
Correct.
betrayed you, who
You
have
know,
betrayed. I'm not even looking until you come and
we-
join with Caswell Franklyn. No, just leave them.
correct.
Just leave them. They have deceived you.